they talking real loud, spreading on lies, trying to bring me down. Enemies lurking, but I won't back away. Got a vision in my mind, I'm here to stay. With my crew beside me, we rise like a tide. When the storm gets rough, we ain't gonna hide. Propaganda's swilling, but it won't touch me. Only love around, that's how it's gonna be. Keep moving forward, never looking back. The truth's in the power, it's an unstoppable track. In the city lights where dreams collide, we hustle through the night, fire in our stride. Whispers in the dark can't dim my glow. With rhythm in my soul, I'm ready for the show. We break the chains, rewrite the rules in this concrete jungle where nobody's fools. Unity sings louder than the lies they scheme. In the heart of the struggle, we dare to dream. Keep moving forward, never looking back.
It's the one and only queen of receipts, the dropping gems in these YouTube streets. The lawyer Royce, nowhere to go. Tune in for the infamous morning show, giving the news that you need to know. So don't you dare miss a wake-up call. Then in the evening, I got all for y'all. Get your dose of daily vitamins. You know the queen makes it make sense. So true.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning back in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your morning wake-up call. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get ready to get into it. Everyone hit that like button. And before we get started, of course, let's have a brief word from my sponsor at 12 Tribes.
Do not buy 12 Tribes on Earth hair growth oil and hair magic elixir unless you want super healthy, gorgeous hair that grows. They have a whole line of amazing hair growth products, including hair growth leave-in conditioner spray, hair growth shampoo, hair growth spray, and hair growth butter. I'm starting to sense a theme here. They include quality natural ingredients. They smell amazing, and you can see the results for yourself. So if you're looking for healthy hair growth for your natural or relaxed hair, try 12 Tribes on Earth today.
Okay, so don't forget you can purchase 12 Tribes hair oil at Etsy.com. Just look for Lisa Crafts. You can also find it at Walmart.com. And she sells beard oil as well. Okay, so let's get into it. Hello, Root Trackers. Claudette's in the building. Okay, D Major, Aquarius Rising. Andrea is here. Millicent, Desmond, Claudette, Andrea. All right, Jeff ATL is in the virtual building. All right, Deronda, I see you. So shout out to all of my loyal royals and everyone tuned into the Queen. And a big shout out to my moderators putting in work. I see you, pretty wings. Okay, Nessie X, Vince I am from the UK. Let's get it started. Okay, let's get it started. Now, first things first. Let's talk about David. Hey, the elder Baba Rashad. Thanks for tuning back in. Okay, so now David has been named as a suspect in the Celeste Rivas case. Now, I don't know what took them so long to name him as a suspect because, that's what it looked like from day one to me. I'm pretty sure to us all. But so anyway, TMZ spoke on it. So I'm going to go to that and I'm going to put up an overlay.
investigation into Celeste Rivas's death. I know everyone has been waiting to hear something about this. It has been 2 months since Celeste's decomposing body was found in David's Tesla. And now we know, if you for 1 second thought that the police had forgotten about this and this case was not going to be solved, we now know that the police have been working diligently on this case. And here's what we have found out from our law enforcement sources. David is viewed as a suspect in this case. That may seem obvious, but remember, they have not publicly said anything like that. They have not even said publicly that he is a person of interest. We've spoken to several well-placed sources in law enforcement, and they say that in the investigation, they are viewing him as a suspect. Another thing is they're viewing this as a homicide. We told you more than a month ago that the key thing here is police were waiting to get the medical examiner report back, and they wanted to find out the manner and cause of death. They wanted that from the medical examiner because the reality is at this point, yes, they know that her body was decomposing, that it was chopped up, but they don't know how she died. And they were waiting for those results. We are told they still do not have toxicology results from the medical examiner's office. However, what investigators do know so far is leading them to treat this as a homicide. They're still waiting for the medical examiner report to back that up, but they are viewing David as a suspect and viewing this as a homicide. So there's something else here that's 2 more things we got to tell you about. And one of them has to do with the fact that there could be other arrests here. David may not be the only person that they end up arresting in this case. And we'll tell you why in just a moment. Now, here is another very key fact that we have been told, that there was in the spring of 2025, they have information, police do, about David going to Santa Barbara County, a remote area of Santa Barbara County. That's how it was described to us, that he went to this remote area, spent several hours there, and then returned to LA. Don't know anything more at this point. Don't know. Spring of 2025 is a long way from September, early September, when her body was found in the Tesla. So we don't know yet what exactly that direct connection is, if there's a direct connection to the case, but they have this information about him going to that remote area, and they are trying to find out more about that. So what I'd said about other arrests. So again, they don't have the manner of death yet. They don't have the cause of death. What we're told, though, is the manner in which the body was dismembered leads police to believe that whoever did that to Celeste had help, that it was not something that whoever the person is who did it could have done by themselves, and likely, we're told, did have help. Now, we are not being told that there are any other people they are viewing as a suspect. We're not told that there are other persons of interest, just that what they've seen with the body and how it was dismembered, it likely they feel was not done by one person. So right now, again, just to recap, David viewed as a suspect by investigators on this case. They view this as a homicide, still waiting for the ME's report to back up the fact that her cause of death is a homicide. And this mysterious Santa Barbara trip in the spring of 2025, I think that is going to be interesting if police can find out more. And then the final question is, who else was involved in dismembering Celeste's body? Don't have an arrest yet, but this is a good sign for people waiting to see if there is going to be justice for Celeste. A lot of times when these cases drag out, people start to think the police aren't doing any work. We saw this with Brian Kohberger in Idaho, and then it turned out the police had been diligently covering all their bases here to try and bring someone to justice. Maybe that is going to happen for Celeste Rivas and her family after all. Of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to our channel to get all the latest on this case.
Listen, it's called
Okay. Well, that's the latest on that, and I find it very interesting. I told you all, if you all remember, you heard it here first. I told you all that someone had to have helped him get her body in that car, carry her body outside and put it in the frunk, as they call it, the front trunk. So I told y'all that. So that's no surprise to me. And it may have been his manager. I can't wait to find out all the nefarious details, okay? Because this is really a sad story. 16 years old, or 15, was she 15 or 16? Nonetheless, found dead like that, body decomposed, possibly dismembered, and all of that. Very sad indeed. Now, with that all being said, let's go to Nicki Minaj's speech, because Nicki Minaj spoke at the UN yesterday, and people are going in on her. I'm sure there are some people that support her, but majority of the people have been going in on her simply due to the fact that they say this aligns her with Trump. And it isn't a good look. And I have to agree, because girl, what are you thinking? And this is what happens when you have people, specifically some of these celebrities, who really don't even know what's going on in the world of politics. They have no idea what's really going on in the political sphere, but yet they want to speak on it. Now, Nicki Minaj probably saw a headline where Trump had said something about the Christians, having genocide committed upon them over there in Nigeria. And she just took that and ran with it without doing her due diligence and following up to see what the Nigerians were actually saying about this, and if anything that Trump actually said or alleged was true. Because, girl, don't you know how much he lies? So I just find it all interesting. People have accused her of spreading misinformation, okay? And I have to agree. Now, with that all being said, let's go to this speech. I haven't listened to it, just so you know, but I want to hear this. Here we go.
Hello, everyone. I must say I am very nervous, so please, well, thank you, Ambassador Waltz, for this invitation. It is an honor to stand on this stage with you and the other distinguished speakers here today to shine a spotlight on the deadly threat faced by thousands of Christians in Nigeria. I would like to thank President Trump for prioritizing this issue and for his leadership on the global stage in calling for urgent action to defend Christians in Nigeria, to combat extremism, and to bring a stop to violence against those who simply want to exercise their natural right to freedom of religion or belief. I stand here as a proud New Yorker with a deep sense of gratitude that we live in a country where we can freely and safely worship God regardless of one's creed, background, or politics. No group should ever be persecuted for practicing their religion, like I recently stated on social media. And we don't have to share the same beliefs in order for us to respect each other. We're way beyond thinking or expecting or assuming for the person sitting next to you to have the exact same beliefs. We're beyond that. That's ridiculous. But that shouldn't make one person feel less safe than anyone in any room. Music has taken me around the globe. I have seen how people, no matter their language, culture, or religion, come alive when they hear a song that touches their soul. Religious freedom means we all can sing our faith regardless of who we are, where we live, and what we believe. But today, faith is under attack in way too many places. In Nigeria, Christians are being targeted, driven from their homes, and killed. Churches have been burned. Families have been torn apart, and entire communities live in fear constantly, simply because of how they pray. Sadly, this problem is not only a growing problem in Nigeria, but also in so many other countries across the world, and it demands urgent action. And I want to be clear. Protecting Christians in Nigeria is not about taking sides or dividing people. It is about uniting humanity. Nigeria is a beautiful nation with deep faith traditions and lots of beautiful barbs that I can't wait to see. When one's church, mosque, or place of worship is destroyed, everyone's heart should break just a little bit. And the foundation of the United Nations, with its core mandate to ensure peace and security, should shake. I am joined here today by peace builders, by faith leaders, by those who saw violence, saw rising intolerance, saw the threats clearly before us, and chose not to look the other way. I am inspired by their work to build interfaith ties, to see the humanity across the lines which might divide us, and to fight for security and liberty for all those who pray. I look forward to our discussion today, and I hope it will encourage deepened solidarity for us to urgently work together to ensure every person can enjoy the right to believe, to worship, and to live in peace. Barbs, I know you're somewhere listening. I love you so very much. You have been the ultimate light in my life and career for so long. I appreciate you, and I want to make it very clear once again that this isn't about taking sides. This is about standing up in the face of injustice. It's about what I've always stood for my entire career, and I will continue to stand for that for the rest of my life. I will care if anyone, anywhere, is being persecuted for their beliefs. Thank you.
Okay, well, all righty then. So what say you, beloved? What say you? I find it all interesting. Bless her heart. Okay, so anyway, Jay Dauntless says Nicki Minaj didn't do a drop of studying to show herself approved. Okay, like the Bible says, beloved. She's speaking on behalf of the direct descendants, the so-called white people who afflicted us in sub-Saharan Africa. Okay? Listen, here's the thing. She doesn't even know what she's talking about. Okay? And I don't understand why she would listen to anything Trump says. Now, there have been mixed reviews, as I said. Some people have been critical of her, some people that are Nigerian as well. And then also there has been supposedly some Nigerians who praised her for speaking out about it. But nonetheless, the officials over there are saying that Christians and Muslims are being killed. I don't know. But what I do know is Nikki should not be aligning herself with Donald Trump, especially with the things that he's doing. And she's Trinidadian. And like I told you all on yesterday, that fisherman who was on the boat, his family believes that his boat was blown up by one of the airstrikes that Trump ordered. That man was Trinidadian. Okay. His nefariousness is affecting her own people. Okay, with this bogus uh, war that he's declaring on illegal substances with Venezuela, even though they said that most of the illegal substances would likely be coming from Colombia due to the route. Okay, so anyway, honey, this is why people need to do their due diligence. Now, with that all being said, let's talk about it because Trump did up. Okay, I was going to report this yesterday, but we had a myriad of other things to talk about because of the fact of the vote and the Epstein files, going forward and all of that. I don't think those files are coming out. I think Trump is still going to do something. Okay. Now he can veto it, but then Congress has to approve it. But nonetheless, he's going to try something. But do you all know what I find interesting? I find interesting the fact that Epstein's brother, Mark, has come out with the whole shocker. He's saying that he's been told and given this information by a very reliable source, supposedly, that somewhere they're having those files scrubbed to remove the names of the Republicans that were involved. And I find that very interesting. Now, I can't say if this is true or not, but it likely is, because when I tell you that's the first thing that came in my spirit yesterday after they said that, it had passed Senate and all of that. So, but here's the thing too. I know that Trump is probably so mad right now, okay, because first of all, he was meeting with the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia yesterday with his nefarious self. Where do we get into that? Okay, load of BS. And he was just kissing that man's butt and everything, just kissing up to him. And but then for him to hear that it passed the Senate, I'm sure he probably wasn't expecting that. Okay, I don't think he was expecting 100 senators to go along with it. Okay, he thought somebody was going to save him, but nobody did. So anyway, and another thing too is the fact that, Trump really tells on himself if you wait long enough, because somebody who lies constantly, pathological liars always tend to tell on themselves sooner or later because they lie so much. There's no way possible they can remember all of their lies. So I want to go back to something that Trump said some time ago. He was talking about the Unabomber, and he was basically saying that he knew the Unabomber. His uncle taught at MIT and all of this stuff. And his uncle knew the Unabomber and told him some things, but it wasn't his uncle that told him that. Where do you find out who it likely was, though? And also, Trump recently, I showed you all a clip where Trump said something about his ties to MIT because he was talking about how smart he is, like saying that basically he has a high IQ and it's something that he was speaking on, a subject matter he was speaking on at the time. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I do remember that he said that's his ties to MIT. He said very smart. Do you all remember that? Okay, well, we're going to see where he got the ties from MIT. Now, mind you, he did have an uncle who worked there, but I don't think that's who he was talking about. And it definitely isn't who really told him about the Unabomber. Okay, please pay attention. I'm going to share my screen.
Does not seem to remember basic facts about his own life. He does not seem to remember things that happened as recently as his first term. This is a guy who once boasted he had the best memory of all time. His words, certainly not mine. But recently, it seems like he is, well, not at all okay, I guess is one way to describe it. Let me show you what I mean. Yesterday, Trump attended an AI summit in Pittsburgh. And within 10 minutes of taking the microphone, he launched into an utterly strange digression about his uncle and the notorious domestic terrorist of all people, Ted Kaczynski, better known as the Unabomber.
My uncle was at MIT, one of the great professors, 51 years, whatever. He was the longest serving professor in the history of MIT. Kaczynski was one of his students. Do you know who Kaczynski was? There's very little difference between a madman and a genius. But Kaczynski, I said, what kind of a student was he, Uncle John, Dr. John Trump? He said, what kind of a student? And he said, seriously good. He said he'd go around correcting everybody, but it didn't work out too well for him.
But again, to sum that up, Trump says his uncle taught the Unabomber at MIT, and apparently the question of all the possible questions Trump asked him was what kind of a student Kaczynski was. And then he felt the need to share the detail that the Unabomber was a good student to some perplexed people. And yes, that's a pretty weird, pretty creepy thing for the president of the United States, or really anyone to say at an event that was supposed to be about artificial intelligence. But it gets weirder. Because the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski, never attended MIT. And while Trump did have an uncle who worked at MIT, his uncle died in 1985, which is a full 11 years before the Unabomber was publicly identified and apprehended. So I guess either Donald Trump is confessing to having known the identity of the Unabomber more than a decade before he was caught. There could be that, I suppose. Or something is seriously off with Donald Trump. And that's not a one-off. That is hardly the only incident. I mean, today reporters in the Oval Office asked Donald Trump about new reporting that he has floated the idea of firing Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell. And this is how he responded.
He's a terrible Fed chair. I was surprised he was appointed.
Were you? Were you really surprised he was appointed? The person who nominated him for that job was you, Donald Trump. It was you.
Exactly.
Trump picked Jerome Powell to run the Fed during his first term. There they are, right there, being announced. He does not seem to remember basic facts about his own life. He does not seem to remember things that happened as recently as his first term. This is a guy who once boasted he had the best memory of all time. His words, certainly not mine.
Mm. Don't y'all find that interesting? Don't y'all find that interesting? Trump is an idiot. And here's the thing. He also lied because every story that he tells, I'm sure he has to add a tidbit of lies in there, sprinkling a few lies just to embellish, make it sound like he's larger than life or like something is just what it isn't. But he also lied about his uncle being the longest serving professor at Harvard, because in fact, that is a man by the name of Gilbert Strang. Okay. And he retired May of 2023. So, Trump, please sit down somewhere. That man was there after a 66-year association. Okay. Mm. He was 3 years at a student or as a student and 2 as an instructor and 61 as faculty. Okay. So, Trump, clearly not your uncle. All right. See, he just lies for no good reason. But now, with that all being said, let's find out who really told Trump anything about the Unabomber, because it wasn't his uncle, as we've just seen.
Really did have a close personal relation who reportedly claimed to have known the Unabomber back in his college days. It just wasn't Trump's uncle. I mean, this is from a 2019 interview that Mother Jones did with a friend of notorious child sex predator Jeffrey Epstein. Here's what it said, quote, Jeffrey once told me that he studied math with the Unabomber. Did you know that? Jeffrey told me that he studied math at UCLA with the Unabomber. So, you see, I mean, Trump really did have a close personal relationship with someone who apparently claimed to know the Unabomber in college. It's possible. It's possible. He just confused his beloved uncle with his good friend of many years, child sex predator Jeffrey Epstein. It is possible. And while we don't know if Epstein ever actually did meet the Unabomber, if they did, it almost certainly would not have been at UCLA, given neither of them went there. But it seems still totally plausible that Epstein could have told the same story to his good friend, Donald Trump. I guess, I mean, that's a simple mistake that anyone who had a long personal friendship with Jeffrey Epstein could have made. You know, confusing him with a member of your literal own family. Trump said that his uncle taught the Unabomber at
Okay, so I find that all very interesting, don't you? I find it all very interesting. So now let's get into what Epstein's brother said about those files being scrubbed. Okay, and the reason I played that is just to show, well, for one, Trump may have early onset dementia. I'm not sure. It certainly seems plausible, in my opinion. But also the fact that he told that Unabomber story. Now, I also have to ask myself, did he just lie and say that it was his uncle that told him that information because he didn't want to admit anything about his relationship with Epstein at the time? Okay, maybe that was it. So he just acted like his uncle told him and thought nobody'd be the wiser. You can't put anything past him. Okay, that's what you can't do ever. Okay, so with that all being said, let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance.
Is really pushing right now. I got literally it sent to me a dozen times this weekend. Did you see the emails between Jeffrey Epstein and his brother Mark? Did you see? It's proof that Epstein was covering and had stuff on Trump as his sex life. All right. Here's Jeffrey Epstein's brother, Mark Epstein, joining us right now. Mark, I explained to people that you want to keep it on the phone because you're afraid of what's been done and threatened to you and your family. So I appreciate you sticking your head up to have this conversation.
That's okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
All right. Mark, just, easy suggestion. This back and forth with Jeffrey, where he tells you that Bannon is with him, and you say, oh, great, ask him if Putin still has photos of Donnie T, I'm assuming President Trump, with blowing, which we all know what that means, Bubba.
Let me stop you here. I'm not discussing that email. This was a private email between Jeffrey and myself. There's two brothers talking. It's nobody's business what we wrote. The only thing I responded to is because people got crazy with the Bubba reference and they tried to pin it on Clinton. So I made a public statement that it was not any reference to Bill Clinton. I like Bill Clinton, and I'm sorry for him that he had to go through that. But the email had nothing to do with Clinton, and that's my last word on that email. What I do want to talk about is I've been recently told the reason they're going to be releasing these things and the reason for the flip is that they're sanitizing these files. There's a facility in Winchester, Virginia, where they're scrubbing the files to take Republican names out of it. That's what I was told by a pretty good source. And my main focus.
Look, do you believe that? Do you believe? Hold on, Mark, hold on a second. Two things. One, if you don't want to talk about it,
I don't have.
All right, I obviously you believe it. You just said it, but all right. But Mark, hold on a second. Let me ask you a question.
Jeffrey did not commit suicide. That's my focus. I don't care about the files. Jeffrey's dead. So I don't care of the implications of the files. That's other people's problems. My brother did not commit suicide, and we're finding more information to prove that he didn't commit suicide. So the question becomes, who killed him? Well, who had him killed? I mean, Bill Barr is key to this cover. He's come up with so much bullshit, okay, and lies, demonstrable, provable lies, okay, that either he's covering it up or he's stupid. What?
All right. So one thing at a time. We've discussed the fact that you don't think your brother killed himself on the Chris Cuomo Project on my podcast. People can go check out that conversation. You know, the head of the FBI and his number two, both of who used to suggest exactly what you are, says now that they've looked at everything, there is no proof that it was anything but suicide. Cash Patel, Dan Bongino.
Stop right there. They didn't look at anything. There was never a homicide-capable investigation done. They called it a suicide early on to stop the investigation. If you read the DOJ report, it's all about the screw-ups in the jails. Cameras not working, guards not doing their job. It doesn't address the issue of the cause of his death. And it was misrepresented as a suicide because they didn't want to investigate. And more information.
So you're accusing the head of the FBI in this administration of a cover-up?
Absolutely. He was the one who said in his testimony, you know it's suicide when you see one. I had to laugh. How many suicides has that jackass seen? Okay? He's not a doctor. He's not a pathologist. He never saw Jeffrey's body. He wasn't there, but he knows it's suicide.
Well, he's certainly changed his story about it. But I want to ask you one other thing, okay? And I get it. You don't want to talk about it. It was a private back and forth with your brother. Fine. But it is being used as proof that your brother had compromised information about Donald Trump. Is that what you are referring to, and is that what you suspect?
No, Jeffrey, in 2016, I said this publicly before, Jeffrey told me that if he said what he knew about the candidates, they'd have to cancel the election. He didn't tell me what he knew, but Jeffrey definitely had dirt on Trump. And you could see in the emails, Trump could deny it all he wants, but it's pretty clear. I mean, everything Trump says is a lie.
But that's not what you were talking about.
It's provable that he was in Jeffrey's office. He said he wasn't in the house. It's provable he was there. He said everything he says is a lie.
But that's not what you were talking about in the text thread. You don't know of any information that he had.
I'm not discussing that email.
Did you know or ever see any evidence that your brother had against Trump? Did you ever see any or hear any?
Just he told me he had it. He wouldn't tell me that if it wasn't true.
And how do you explain that it never came out and that Ghislaine Maxwell has never talked about it?
Well, yeah, she got a pretty sweet deal, you know?
She's in prison.
I'm not trying to hurt Ghislaine, but you know, one of the things I found interesting in her testimony is when she was asked about other people. You know, she said they were all involved, they didn't do anything. But when she was asked about Trump, she went on at length about he was always a gentleman, he was always professional. And I said, why is he getting this special treatment of exoneration? And the other people, she just said, well, they didn't do anything. So, you know, even her lawyer said they cut the deal. So that's why I believe she said those things. Okay.
Did you know that your brother was talking to members of Congress during hearings?
No. Jeff and I didn't do business together. He didn't tell me those things.
Mark, I appreciate you giving your perspective. Thank you for doing it. And I understand you think it's a risk to you and the family. So thank you for taking the opportunity.
Okay, so you all heard that, honey. I find it all so interesting and quite frankly nefarious, and I do believe that that's exactly what's going on. Okay, I believe that's exactly what's going on. They're scrubbing it. They're desperate. Okay, they are so desperate. In my opinion, they'll do anything and stop at nothing. Okay, to keep them from being exposed. So anyway, Hakeem Jeffries, the minority leader, seems to think also that there was possibly a cover up. Okay. And then I was looking at the video from yesterday evening. Now, how come you all didn't correct me when I was talking about Majority Leader Chuck Schumer? And I think I called him the minority leader, or I called him the House Speaker or something. But anyway, y'all didn't even correct me, honey. Y'all are so wrong for that. Y'all know sometimes I misspeak. Okay, so anyway, let's get into it because yeah, Mr. Jeffries clearly thinks that there was possibly a cover up. Okay, or Trump lied, and we know that he probably has engaged in both.
Over the last few days, a number of members of your caucus have been posting and engaging in some of the discourse about Jeffrey Epstein. Is this appropriate for your members to be doing so? Do you want to see any action on that front?
The American people deserve to know the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth as it relates to this whole sordid Jeffrey Epstein matter. Democrats didn't put the Jeffrey Epstein thing into the public domain. This was a conspiracy that Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and these MAGA extremists have been fanning the flames of for the last several years. And now the chickens are coming home to roost.
That's right. And here's the thing. MAGA Mike yesterday, when he was cheesing so hard, skinning and grinning, because he was so thrilled, because he knows they're going to do something to keep those files from coming out no matter what kind of vote occurs. At the end of the day, when he said they had them for 4 years and they never asked about it, for 4 years, they were sitting in a warehouse. But now they just want to bring down Trump. No. First of all, as I told you all, Biden's administration wasn't the ones talking about it and running his campaign on it. It was Trump. And then the other thing is Ghislaine Maxwell was actually on trial during Biden's tenure in office. So with that all being said, if Ghislaine Maxwell was on trial during Biden's time in office, how was he going to release anything? And I find that interesting that Trump or MAGA Mike don't seem to, understand that. Seeing as how that's exactly what they're going to do. That's exactly what they're going to do to keep the files from coming out. Pam Bondi's going to come out. Remember, I told you this. Pam Bondi. Now, I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong because I want them all to go down. Okay, I want them all to go to prison. But at the end of the day, I believe Pam Bondi is going to come out and give a speech. It'll either be Pam Blondie or Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary. But more than likely, Blondie. Okay, she's likely going to come out and give a press conference and talking trash and say that we can't release anything. There's a current ongoing investigation. Okay, I told you all this days ago. I told you all this last week, or at least over the weekend, rather. I told you all this. That's what's going to happen. She's going to come out and say because there's an ongoing investigation because Trump purposely put her on to the Democrats, told her to open an investigation to the Democrats because see his mind is constantly giving him nefarious ideas to gaslight and deflect, from the Epstein files. Okay, it's like he's playing a constant game of chess with himself to keep coming up with these ideas. Okay, as soon as they get close to him and the files are being spoken about, he finds something else to throw out there. So he came up with the plan. Okay, you know what? And somebody likely told him this because he's not that smart, but they likely told him, said, listen, why don't you tell Bondi to go ahead and investigate the Democrats? Because Bill Clinton was clearly friends with Epstein, and we've got pictures and everything to prove it and video footage. Why don't you tell her to look into the Democrats? So that way there's an open investigation. So therefore, no one can, show the files. Okay? No files can be released. And how long can an investigation last? It could last a long time. It could last a long time. Okay, so please pay attention. Now, let's continue to listen to Mr. Jeffries.
The American people deserve to know the truth. What, if anything, is the Trump administration and the Department of Justice hiding? What are you hiding? If you're not hiding anything, prove that to the American people. And if you are trying to hide something, as many of Donald Trump's MAGA supporters apparently believe, then the Congress should actually work hard to try to uncover the truth for the American people. There are only two things that are possible here. Option one, Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, and the MAGA extremists intentionally lied to the American people for years about the Jeffrey Epstein situation. That's option one. Option two is that, in fact, there's reason for the American people to be concerned as it relates to what information has not been released that could be damaging to the Trump administration and the friends and family of the Trump administration and their billionaire corrupt supporters. And so they're actively engaging in a cover-up. Option one, they lied for years. Option two, they're engaging in a cover-up.
Over the last few days, a number of members of your caucus have been posting and engaging.
And 9 times out of 10, that's exactly what they're doing. Okay? That's definitely what they're doing, in my opinion, engaging in a whole cover-up. Okay, so now with that all being said, let's talk about Trump and this Saudi prince. And the reason this is of particular importance is because this Saudi prince, for Trump to be doing business with him and inviting him to the White House and all of that, it should be considered unethical and, in fact, a whole conflict of interest. You see, seeing as how his children have dealings with Saudi Arabia, okay, $60 billion worth. Okay, don't y'all find that interesting? Didn't I tell you all that Trump's just simply enriching himself and his kids? That's what he's using the White House for, and his position of power, an intrigue. Okay, so let's get into it. Likes up, everyone, please like and share.
We go to correspondent David Spunt with a wrap-up of today in the White House briefing room. Good evening, David.
Brett, good evening to you. The president and crown prince continue to grow closer, and that was on full display today. Both men talking about the economy and military might, two topics they both continue to push. Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman back at the White House for the first time since 2018.
I'm very proud of the job he's done. What he's done is incredible in terms of human rights and everything else.
The Saudi government previously pledged an investment of $600 billion into the U.S. economy, backing artificial intelligence and energy. Today, the Crown Prince upped the ante.
We're going to announce that we are going to increase that $600 billion to almost $1 trillion of investment.
Shortly after the Crown Prince's arrival, a formation including F-35s flew over the White House. A show of force, but also a chance for the prince to check out a future purchase. The president says he green-lighted the sale of several F-35s to the Saudi government. The specific number, though, unknown.
It's a great plane. We make, by the way, the best military equipment.
Critics say by giving the Saudis access to American-made military equipment, other countries may gain insight into U.S. defense capabilities. The Crown Prince was asked about other controversies, including his country's connection to the September 11, 2001 attacks on America and a CIA assessment that concluded he likely ordered the killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi in 2018.
A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
The Crown Prince with a more direct answer.
And it's been painful for us in Saudi Arabia. We've did all the right steps of investigation, etc., in Saudi Arabia, and we've improved our system to be sure that nothing happened like that. And it's painful, and it's a huge mistake, and we are doing our best that this doesn't happen again.
In just a few moments, there will be a dinner to honor Mohammed bin Salman here at the White House. Tomorrow, he will appear at an economic summit here in Washington, D.C., touting relationships between his government and American companies. Brett.
David Spunt, the White House briefing room. David, thank you.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page.
Okay, so you all see that. I find that very interesting. He snapped on that reporter and then defended that man and then basically dismissed the life of the Wall Street journalist reporter, okay, who was a whole U.S. citizen. But Trump wants us to think that it's America first. Is that what he wants us to think? Well, of course he does. Okay, he didn't care about that man at all. I mean, he could have at least shown some respect. Now, the man's wife came out and spoke about that, Jamal Khashoggi's widow. Okay, but how she felt about Trump saying that. I mean, basically saying her husband was a controversial figure, alluding to the fact that nobody liked him or many people didn't like him or whatever. Okay, just low down, honey. That man was lured to his death.
Spoke with Jamal Khashoggi's widow, Hanan Atalar Khashoggi, about President Trump's remarks downplaying the Crown Prince's role in the killing of her husband. Here's our conversation. When you
Metro Man says he's lying. They proved the person that walked out of the embassy had on different shoes, different weight. All right. Well, thank you for that information.
saw what happened
And
at
thank
the
you
White
for your
House
thanks for your contribution to the channel. Peace, love, and blessings.
today in the Oval Office, what was your gut reaction?
I did feel disappointed by describing my husband in this way and the kind of justify the crime. There is nothing to justify the crime, even if you don't agree or like certain person. Because of his opinion or vision for his country. To say he's controversial and he's unlikely, it does not give anyone right to just kidnap him, torture him, kill him, and dismantle his body. Yes, and it did hurt me a lot. And it's taken away as well. It's look like taking away the freedom for the journalists to do their job. And it will be
To ask the question.
To ask the question, and it will be what is the difference then between U.S. and any dictatorship Middle Eastern country?
We'll get to what the Crown Prince said in a moment, but the president, referring to the Crown Prince, said he knew nothing about it. How did
Trump is just a liar who lies, okay? That's who gave the order because U.S. intelligence already concluded, okay, that the Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved the 2018 operation that resulted in the death of journalist Jamal Khashoggi. While the prince has denied involvement and called the murder a heinous crime, a 2021 U.S. intelligence report found that he approved an operation to capture or kill him. Okay, and this information came from the Central Intelligence Agency, okay, the CIA. So Trump doesn't trust his own government intelligence. Okay, I have questions. All right, Central Intelligence Agency and other U.S. intelligence agencies determined the Crown Prince approved the operation to kill Khashoggi. Trump, what are you lying about? I mean, why are you still continuously lying? Now, of course, he's going to say that he didn't have anything to do with it, the prince, that is, because he wants to be in bed with the United States suddenly. Okay, and they have this huge deal in Saudi Arabia going on with Trump's own family, like I told you all. Okay. So anyway, I find it all interesting. And then the kingdom's response after the man's murder, Saudi Arabia maintained that the killing was carried out without the knowledge of the leadership and has improved its system to prevent such incidents from happening again. Now, while the U.S. has imposed sanctions and other measures, the country has also sought to maintain its relationship with Saudi Arabia due to its role in regional issues. Yeah, at Trump's behest, no less.
you react when you heard the president say that?
It was so devastated for me as well because the Crown Prince himself, he did accountability in 60 Minutes interview in 2019. He said, I'm responsible as a leader, but he did not do anything beyond that. He admitted verbally. He took responsibility verbally, but he did not take any action to show the world there is a rectifying of this crime. I'm talking about the action should be taken transparent trial for the 18 man who performed the crime And I did not receive an official apology myself as a wife. They destroyed my life. They taken my lover, and they killed me with my husband. I have 7 years of hell, sir. And they did not even looked after me, and they used a spy material in me before I fled from Middle East to US. All of this not being rectified. If he take accountability, verbal.
And just so you all know, Trump was just having, a fabulous, extravagant dinner for this prince. Okay, after he's ordered this person to be killed. Okay, like miss me with it. It's all so crazy. Trump doesn't care.
In 60 minutes, there is things need to be done to show really he's accountable for it. There is an action behind this verbal accountability, which did not happen.
You just said.
And even Elon was there. I thought they were no longer friends. Okay, smoke and mirrors. Please pay attention. Okay, he was right there. He was invited too.
7 years of hell.
It is.
What do you mean by that?
It destroyed my life. They inverted my life, infiltrated my devices. They watch Jamal through me. This is what I discovered when I came to America after I cooperated with the Pegasus project. With the Washington Post, they seek my help, which is I did help. And I discovered they was watching me since 2017, way before they killed Jamal.
That's right. Before they murdered her husband, they had been conducting surveillance on her. And I actually listened to or watched the video about the murder tapes of what they did to her husband. And it was very sad and absolutely egregious. Okay, please pay attention.
To track him because we saw
the Saudis were watching you.
Emirati by Bush. I grew up in Dubai. Okay. Yes,
but in collaboration with the Saudis.
Absolutely. Why Emirati will watch me? I was a cabin crew with Emirates for 22 years. I'm not a public figure or a politician to be watched. They watch me to track my husband because I'm a closest one to my husband. I was sharing his mission and vision. I'm the one that was supporting him in his exile. I was speaking up, putting in my social media, but it's fire back in me. They choose to destroy my life. They detained me many times in Dubai. I've been put in under house arrest. I've been tortured until I decided to flee to America.
And then they killed your husband.
And killed my husband and to make my life hell. I'm isolated. I'm living away from my family. And it is very painful for me, sir. Today is the most painful day for me as well.
I want to read to you what the Director of National Intelligence, Avril Haines, released in an unclassified form in February 2021. Quote, we assess Saudi Arabia's Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey, to capture or kill Jamal Khashoggi. We base this assessment on the Crown Prince's control of decision-making in the kingdom, the direct involvement of a key advisor and members of Mohammed bin Salman's protective detail in the operation, and the Crown Prince's support for using violent measures to silence dissidents abroad, including Khashoggi. That's the U.S. government. How do you know this?
My lawyer, she did read the report. I did not read it myself, which is, it's very painful for me. If they taken this decision, I'm not sure 100% the order being given by the Crown Prince himself, because I don't have the tools. I don't have that intelligence. I don't have a country to support me to dig in and to make sure. But I believe the crime has happened. There is a lot of things have to be shown to show the world they regret, and there is some change, vital change to be happen to show the world, yeah, we're not going to this crime again.
You can watch the rest of my interview with.
Okay, I hope YouTube doesn't give me a copyright claim, but I'm pretty sure they will because I forgot to put an overlay on that Okay. Now, with that all being said, this is also sad and very egregious. Okay. So they were surveilling this woman for her husband. She said she always felt she was being spied on, and now she has proof. In April of 2018, 6 months before the journalist was murdered inside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul by a hit squad dispatched by Riyadh, she was pulled over by the Emirates authorities at Dubai International Airport and questioned. Okay, she had deleted from her British phone 3 WhatsApp messages. Okay, she had sent to a Moroccan singer living in London and a journalist in Qatar. Yet her interrogators knew the content of those messages. Okay, telling me the content of the messages at the beginning of my detention really scared me, and I couldn't recall a thing to answer their questions. Okay, that's what she said, who for a number of years worked as a flight steward. Okay. She said, I have nothing to hide, but they keep threatening me, saying they will get my family or torture my family in front of me to answer their questions, or they will hand my family over to Egyptian intelligence to be tortured or sent to jail or even killed. Okay, so her and her lawyer, Rhonda Fahmy, said they have proof both her phones were targeted by an NSO group spyware program known as Pegasus. This is absolutely egregious. Okay, absolutely egregious. That's right. Rashid said he knew too much, and that's likely the case, beloved. That is likely the case. At the end of the day, the thing is, Trump is doing all of this, like I told you all, because he's trying to fatten his own pockets, okay? He's just trying to fatten his own pockets. He couldn't care less, all right, about this man's death. He couldn't care less, okay? Please pay attention. Yes, Pegasus. Yep. And she worked as a flight steward for Emirates Airlines. The wife did. And they had people spying on her while she was there the whole time. I find it all so egregious. Okay, so likes up, everyone, please like and share. Thank you in advance. Did you all hear that fake AI phone call that they claimed was leaked? They said it was a leaked Trump phone call. It was clearly AI. I don't know how people just believe foolish things when they hear them, because if that was a real phone call, it would have been all over the news, okay? I don't know. Some people seem so convinced. I'm like, please sit down somewhere. It's clearly fake. Clearly fake. Okay, so anyway, with that all been said, let's move on and move forward. And let's talk about this. Hold on. Oh my goodness, I'm looking for a particular article. Why are you laughing at me in the background? You are solo down. Oh, okay. Hold on, guys. Okay, here we go. So listen. Now, here's the thing. As I was telling you all, this man was tortured and killed. And of course, Trump is sitting there saying the prince didn't have anything to do with it. Okay, he basically, you know, um, is denying that this man had anything to do with it. But I mean, what does he stand to gain, you know, if he tells the truth? Okay, so of course he's going to lie because he wants to fatten his own pockets. Now, Donald Trump on Tuesday said that Mohammed bin Salman, the Saudi crown prince, had nothing to do with the murder of the Washington Post columnist Jamal Khashoggi, whose assassination in 2018 left the Saudi leader an international pariah. But Trump's own intelligence services, as well, in 2019, in a UN investigation, have painted a very different picture. The assassination took place inside a Saudi consulate in Istanbul, where a 15-person team led by a close associate of the prince. Okay, so the prince absolutely knew a close associate of the prince was said to have rugged and murdered and dismembered this man. Now, this is really heinous, okay, in order to hide evidence of the crime. Now, I want you all to pay attention because the prince just sat up there with his lying self. Okay, no wonder him and Trump were getting along so great. He sat up there and said that it was a heinous crime. That's what he said. Yeah, it was a heinous crime that he ordered. Okay. And so anyway, They had this man tortured and everything, and then his body chopped into bits and pieces. Okay. Now, that is not what the U.S. Office of Director, when Trump denies that the prince know anything, that's not what the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence concluded in 2021 when a report by the agency laid the blame for Khashoggi's death directly on Prince Mohammed, who on Tuesday made his first visit to the White House since the assassination, saying, "We assess that Saudi Arabia's own Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman approved an operation in Istanbul, Turkey to capture or kill Saudi journalist Jamal Khashoggi." Crown Prince denied it, of course, like I told you all. So this just goes to show, at what lengths Trump will go to just to get money for himself. He doesn't care. And let's talk about that deal. Let's talk about that deal that his kids are involved in. Okay. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his daughter, clearly. Okay. Jared Kushner defends controversial $2 billion Saudi investment. Now, this was reported in February of 2024. Donald Trump's son-in-law and former advisor, Jared Kushner, has defended his business dealings with Saudi Arabia and its crown prince, Mohammed bin Salman. Now, after leaving the White House, Mr. Kushner's private equity firm received a $2 billion investment from Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. Are y'all listening? This is what Trump gets into. Mr. Kushner worked closely with Saudi Arabia on a number of issues during the Trump administration. Now, he has denied that the investment represented a conflict of interest. Well, of course, he's going to deny that, but who is he to say so? Okay? That should be for us to judge and determine. Right now, Prince Mohammed and also Congress. Okay, why aren't they doing anything about Trump's nefarious, financial, what I want to call it, his financial transactions that are clearly unethical. Okay, all these things he's doing, getting private planes and stuff. Okay, now Prince Mohammed has been credited with overseeing sweeping economic and social reforms in the kingdom. He has also been accused of clamping down on dissent, and U.S. intelligence has said it believes that he ordered the 2018 killing of Washington Post journalist Jamal Khashoggi. Now, the Saudi investment with Mr. Kushner's firm, Affinity Partners, took place after he left the White House, but experts have previously raised ethical questions about the deal, citing his earlier dealings with Saudi Arabia and the former president's veto of bills that would have banned weapon sales to the kingdom during its war in Yemen. Speaking on Tuesday at a Miami summit organized by U.S. news outlet Axios, Mr. Kushner dismissed any suggestion that the Saudi investment into his firm was unethical. Why would we expect him to do anything less? He says, if you ask me about the work that we did in the White House for my critics, if you ask me about the work we did in the White House for my critics, what I say is point to a single decision we made that wasn't in the interest of America. He referred to the Saudi Public Investment Fund, which has previously invested in firms like Uber and Microsoft, okay, as one of the most prestigious investors in the world. Now, Mr. Kushner was also asked about Khashoggi's murder and declassified U.S. intelligence reports that Prince Mohammed approved the operation to kill him at the Saudi consulate in Istanbul. Okay, now what do you have to say about that? At first, Mr. Kushner shot back at the question with, "Are you really still doing this?" Sounds like something his father-in-law would have said. I understand why people, are upset about it. I think that what happened there was absolutely horrific. But again, our job was to represent America and to try to push forward things in America. Now, he said he has not been or has not seen the intelligence reports about the prince's alleged involvement in the murder. He says, I know the person who I dealt with. I think he's a visionary leader. I think what he's done in that region is transformational. So looking to the future, Kushner says he was not interested in returning to the White House in the event that Mr. Trump wins November's presidential election. Mr. Trump is likely to be the Republican standard bearer in a contest against Democrat Joe Biden. I've been very clear that my desire at this phase of my life is to focus on my firm. I've really enjoyed the opportunity as a family to be out of the spotlight. Okay, so he's saying basically that, now this is from 2019, that article. But so Kushner was basically saying that because he's left the White House, that there's nothing shady about him doing these deals and getting all this money funded from Saudi Arabia. But the question is, wasn't he doing that, involved with them before he left the White House? Did he just do this completely after? Okay, he was likely making, deals with them while he was in the White House. Okay, while Trump was in the White House and while they were all just, doing all sorts of shady things, just like Trump accused Biden of doing, just like Trump accused Hillary and Bill Clinton of doing, and also President Obama. Okay, he was sitting there pointing the finger at all of them, talking about they're fattening their pockets, they're doing deals with Ukraine and all of this stuff, and which they may have been. But my thing is, how's the pot going to talk about the kettle? Okay, please make it all make sense. How is that going to, how is, he going to do that? And then also there's another thing too. Trump even has a real estate deal. The Trump organization eyes real estate deal in Saudi government, development. So the chief of Diriyah said the Trump family business and Saudi Gigi project could announce a deal soon. Okay. Yeah, this is what they got going on. Now, this was announced just yesterday. Okay, the Trump organization is in talks to build a branded property in one of Saudi Arabia's largest government-owned real estate developments. Okay, please pay attention. Okay, the chief executive of the Saudi company leading the development told the New York Times that a deal between the Trump organization and Diriyah Development would be announced soon. Said nothing announced yet, but soon to be. This is what Jeff Zarillo said during, or adding that it was just a matter of time before the Trump organization reached a deal. Diriyah is the global home of the ruling Al Saud family and includes a mud brick village that is a listed UNESCO World Heritage Site. Now, the city, a 20-minute drive from Riyadh, is undergoing a $63 billion development into a luxury destination with hotels, restaurants, shops, and even museums. U.S. President Donald Trump touted the site in May during his visit to the kingdom. Do y'all hear this? Like, this is absolutely egregious. Now, while people in America are struggling, while people in America were struggling, and they even had the audacity, Trump, that is, not the Democrats like he wants everybody to think, had a 43-day shutdown. Late giving people SNAP benefits and all of that. People out here complaining about the economy. And here he is. Here he is doing real estate deals. Okay, his own son-in-law getting $2 billion. And they want to say it's not a conflict of interest. Trump is using the White House for nothing more than just nefariousness, and financial gain. So anyway, they go on to say it turned out to be a good stroke of luck and maybe a little bit clever of us to say, let's appeal to him as a developer, and he loved it. This is what Rizrillo said, talking about Trump. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman will meet with Trump at the White House on Tuesday. Well, they already met. Okay, so I find this all interesting. And then they talk about in April, Qatar DR, a government-administered real estate firm in Doha, announced it was partnering with the Trump organization to build a Trump International Golf Club and villas in Simisma, a resort town some 30 kilometers north of Qatar, the Qatari capital. The Trump organization is also involved in the construction of a golf course and luxury hotel in Oman. Do y'all hear this? Saudi firm Dar Global has emerged as the Trump organization's most important overseas partner. It is the key conduit for Trump's golf ties. Dar Global opened its first U.S. office earlier this year at Trump's Tower in New York City. Dar Global is a subsidiary of the sprawling Saudi development firm Dar Al Arkan, which has close ties to the Saudi government. On Monday, Dar Global announced a new project with Trump's family in Maldives. It involves the construction of a luxury hotel under the Trump International brand, with investors able to participate in its financing through digital tokens. Trump's priorities outside the U.S. are typically constructed by foreign firms. The Trump Organization makes money by selling the Trump brand name and with it the reputation. Now, those licensing fees have proven very lucrative for Trump's children, according to the NYT Dark Global's purchase of rights to the Trump name generated $21.9 million for the Trump family business just last year. Ooh, honey, this is all so nefarious. Do you all hear this? Do y'all hear this? This is all so crazy. It definitely is diabolical. Okay, Trump also got money from them when they sponsored that golf tournament a few years ago. Honey, Trump is a low down dirty devil. Okay, there is absolutely no denying it. There is absolutely no denying it whatsoever. Okay. And I find it also interesting. Now, did I show you all the news clip? I don't think I did, where Trump got upset with a reporter for asking her about the business deeds of his children with Saudi Arabia. Also interesting. I mean, at the end of the day, Trump doesn't care because nobody's going to stop him. Nobody wants to put him in check or anything. And all these people, lots of them are benefiting from it. And then some of these people, quite frankly, they're just as low down as Trump, maybe not as low down as him, but they have the same mentality about keeping certain people under their heels. And by certain people, I mean people who look like me. Okay. And immigrants as well, even. Now, with that all being said, I'm going to look for that video. I'm going to look for that video uh to the reporter. But here's a clip of this idiot's, you all's president. You know, when he was sitting there with the prince, he tried to crack a joke on Biden. Okay, just because Biden gave the prince a fist pump last time he met with him. And then Trump is just always, he always has to bring up Biden or Obama. Like he never stops talking about them. Is he that jealous? Well, it certainly seems that way. Okay. Trying to crack a joke.
And Trump doesn't give a fist pump. I grabbed that hand. I don't give a hell where that hand's been. I grabbed that hand. When remember Biden? He travels for 20 hours, gets out, and he gives a fist bump. No. When you get out of the plane and you got the future king and the man who's one of the most respected people in the world, you shake his hand. You don't give him a fist bump, right? We don't want to ask you about that, but I can't imagine you were thrilled. You were like a little bit surprised. He's a fantastic guy. You don't do that.
Okay, just a whole nut. So I just find it all interesting, like I said. I find it all very interesting. Okay, now here's what Trump said. I want you all to think about this when he's talking about the economy. He's so stupid. Now, the economy is in the tank as far as I'm concerned, and as far as most Americans are concerned. There was a lady that was talking about how now that the, now that the Affordable Care Act is going to expire, the provisions are going to expire in December. She was talking about how her and her husband's insurance is going to go from like $7,000 a year to $27,000 a year. So she basically says they're not even going to be able to have insurance. Okay, they're going to have to just take chances and risk and not have insurance. But meanwhile, here's what Trump said with his stupid self. Because he's having a good time with finances. He's financially, he's financially improved substantially since he's been in the White House. Okay, here's what he says. Investment in AI is helping to make the U.S. economy the hottest in the world. But overregulation by the states is threatening to undermine this major growth engine. Some states are even trying to embed DEI ideology into AI models, producing woke AI. Remember Black George Washington? We must have one federal standard instead of a patchwork of 50 state regulatory regimes. If we don't, then China will easily catch us in the AI race. Put it in the NDAA or pass a separate bill, and nobody will ever be able to compete with America. He gives himself far too much credit, okay? Please pay attention. And then he wants to make it look like he's just doing so much to improve the finances of America. You know, he reported back in May that Saudi Arabia was going to be investing $600 billion as a commitment into the United States, building economic ties that will endure for generations to come. Okay, the first deals under the announcement strengthen our energy security, they say, defense industry, technology leadership, and access to global infrastructure and critical minerals. Never mind that these people may have had something to do with 9/11 or had a journalist from the U.S. killed, okay? Terry Hinn says people will lose their lives as their health insurance gets demolished. Well, absolutely they will. You know, basically that's what Bernie Sanders already said. Now, he already said that a couple of weeks ago. He said that there's probably going to be at least 50,000 people dying per year due to this. Okay? Hold on, beloveds. I'm trying to see if this is the... Yeah, I think this might be it right here. I think this is the video I'm looking for, or that I was. Here we go. Now, just look at how Trump gets so annoyed, you know, and upset when she asked him about his family doing business with Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President, is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news, ABC fake news, one of the worst in the business. But I'll answer your question. I have nothing to do with the family business. I have left, and when I've devoted 100% of my energy. What my family does is fine. They do business all over. They've done very little with Saudi Arabia, actually. I'm sure they could do a lot. And anything they've done has been very good. That's what we've done. We've built a tremendous business for a long time. I've been very successful. I decided to leave that success behind and make America very successful. And I've made America more successful by far than it ever was, and that it ever could have been, no matter who was president. There would be nobody bringing in $21 trillion. That I can tell you right now. As far as this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you...
Okay, we've already heard the rest. But don't y'all find that interesting? He lies and says he's left the family business. Donald Trump is the family business. What is he talking about? Okay, I mean, it's just one lie after the other with him. He just does not even care how stupid his lies sound. He doesn't care about any of that at all whatsoever. Okay? Anyway, with that all being said, and he called a reporter Piggy. And then Gavin Newsom called him Piggy, and I loved it. Okay, so let's go to the footage. Yeah, he called a reporter that just for asking him a question.
Venezuela, sir, you said. Okay. Mr. President, what did Jeffrey Epstein mean in his emails that he said you knew about the girls?
I know nothing about that. They would have announced that a long time ago. It's really, what did he mean when he spent all the time with Bill Clinton, with the president of Harvard, who you know, that is Summers, Larry Summers, whatever his name is, and all of the other people that he spent time with. Jeffrey Epstein and I had a very bad relationship for many years. But he also saw Skype because I was president. So he dictated a couple of memos to him, something we bring. You're going to find out what did he know with respect to Bill Clinton, with respect to the head of Harvard, with respect to all of those people that he knew, including J.P. Morgan shares.
Sir,
Yeah,
if
Jennifer,
there's
go ahead.
nothing
Go ahead.
incriminating in the file, sir, why not take us in?
Quiet.
He is something else. Okay, call that lady Piggy. Quiet, Piggy. I mean, who does he think he is? So I find it also interesting. Okay, I find it also interesting at the end of the day. But you know what's really sad? What's really sad is all of these victims of Epstein, thousands of victims, okay, thousands of victims of Epstein, they're not going to get any justice. Okay, Epstein died before he could be even go to trial. Trump's going to end up pardoning Ghislaine Maxwell, I'm pretty sure. Okay, so this is all a whole hot mess. And then meanwhile, Virginia Giuffre's family is still mourning their loss and still seeking justice for her as well.
There I was, as the mother of 3 children. I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I'm making a small dent in this big world we live in. Well, sissy, you didn't just make a small dent. You made a monumental impact, a resounding statement that echoed across the world. You built an unbreakable wall, a barrier that will protect future generations from the horrors of abuse. As we gather here today, I urge each of you, members of Congress, advocates, and all those who hear this message to join us in this fight. Virginia quoted in her memoir, "There I was, as the mother of 3 children. I felt it was my duty to stand up to predators like Epstein and Maxwell. I'm making a small dent in this big world we live in." Well, sissy, you didn't just make a small dent.
With kindness.
That is so sad. That is absolutely so sad. Okay. And so, with that all being said, Dan says, I'm sorry, but those reporters should have stood up for that lady. That's very inappropriate for him to do that. Totally unprofessional, to say the least. Deny Trump the attention he so craves. Well, honey, these reporters don't want any smoke from Trump, apparently. It's just really a whole hot mess. Very sad indeed. And I really hate to see, her brother, her family, her husband, her children, all of them just have to go through that. And these children are left. They're now left without a mother. Okay, so but let's go on. Let's go on because people are still going in on Trump. Let's get into it. Oh, but let me ask you all this. I asked you all this a minute ago. I didn't see you all's responses. Did you all hear that fake AI video or audio about the phone call? It was hilarious. I wish it were true, so Trump would definitely be going to prison. Okay, this is why I keep telling you that AI is so demonic and so dangerous because it will start to distort things so much, we won't be able to tell truth from fiction. Okay, we just won't be able to tell because there's people online, and I'm going to show you how people online absolutely believe it. Okay, but like I said, if it were true, it would have been all over the news. Okay, ABC, NBC, CNN, Fox, they'd all have been reporting on it. Okay, so the next time you hear something that sounds so salacious or too good to be true, or just so explosive, if it's not in the mainstream media, then it's probably a whole lie. Okay, even though they sometimes lie themselves, but nonetheless. Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to take that off the screen. Okay, so with that all been said, now let's go to this video by Tizzy ENT talking about the Republicans and Trump.
Reeling as Donald Trump plays 4D chess with the Epstein files.
Yeah, that 4D chess line is not the last stupid thing you'll hear one of these yapping skin tags say in this video. But it's been tough to be a MAGA Trump supporter over the last, couple weeks with the whole Epstein thing. So I understand that they're desperate for a win and they just grasped at anything, like when Trump did this.
Trump is flipping the script back on the Democrats. He's ordering the DOJ to go investigate Epstein's relationship with Mr. Bill Clinton.
Oh yeah, Dems are shaking. Trump ordered the DOJ to investigate, let's see, Bill Clinton, some of his administration, other Democrats. JP Morgan Chase, which is hilarious because he had the guy in charge of that at the White House like last week. But sure, that's what he's doing. Even Pam Bondi's like, oh, thanks, boss. Thanks for giving me the green light. And all these right-wingers are like, oh, you Dems, you got to be shaking in your boots now. And then an odd thing happened after Trump did this. He came out and said, if you vote for the list, I'll sign it. And he's encouraging Republicans to vote yes to release the list after spending weeks demanding that they not. Special meetings with Lauren Boebert and having a huge falling out with Marjorie Taylor Greene, threatening people. Now he's like, go ahead, I'm fine with it. And legal experts, they have a theory as to why. So let's say they do vote to release the files. And then the DOJ comes in and goes, oh, but wait a moment. We have an active open investigation that involved these files. We can't release them. They're part of an investigation. Most of the right-wingers haven't picked up on this, but a few of them have, like that 4D chess guy, and he seems pretty happy about it.
When they vote to release everything next week, we're going to know everybody's involved anyways. No, but that's the beauty of it. No attorney anywhere will release the files if it's a part of a current investigation, which could go on till the end of time.
When all of this comes out, because it will at some point, whether it's tomorrow or a month from now or 11 years from now, it will come out. And when it does, and you see all the people they were trying to protect, I want you all to remember every single right-wing shill who had been before screaming about the Epstein list until Trump was like, nah, and then they have done nothing but apologize and backpedal. I want you to remember every single person like that that celebrated how brilliant a move this was by Trump. I want you to remember all of them and never, ever, ever let them forget, because there are nearly 1,000 victims of him that have come forward and spoken, and they deserve better than this. This is fucking gross.
Okay. No lies detected. It's really so sad. It's really so sad. And it absolutely is political theater. Okay. That's all we ever get from them is political theater. Now, back to what I was saying about this fake phone call and how people so easily fall for lies and con games. See, I want you to pay attention because this right here, this just further proves how people who make up lies on YouTube, like Wig number 2, this just proves how easily people can be fooled and just believe whole lies, even though those of us with common sense and critical thinking skills know that it's absolutely not true. Okay? I want y'all to pay attention. Here we go.
One word. I've got one word. Impeach. Impeach Donald Trump right now. You need to impeach him right the fuck now. The phone conversation that has just come out of Marjorie Greene, start a fucking war. If I go down, all of you guys go down with me. That is a real phone call that happened. That is a real phone call that's recorded. He is so incompetent and so old, he forgets that these conversations get recorded. You probably have already heard it. If you hadn't, go listen to it. It's all over the internet. It's an actual conversation that's happened that he said, if you need to start a war, start a war. If I go down, everybody's going down with me. This motherfucker needs to be impeached right this second. That goes to show you he knows his wrongdoings. He's on borrowed fucking time. And the fact that you people out there that voted for him support this man and has put him in there, you fucking need to be impeached yourself. You need to fucking be hauled out of this country like they're doing to all these illegals that are over here trying to make it. ISIS needs to haul you out for vote for this predator. But the phone call was real, and he knows he's in trouble and he's going down, and you people put this in play for us, Americans. Thank you for doing that because of your self-indulgent bastard-ass motherfucking selves.
Ooh, honey, he is so mad, isn't he? But I hate to be the bearer of bad news. That phone call's fake, sir. Why does he say it's real as if he knows that for facts? How would he possibly know that? Somebody even said that they sent it through ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said they couldn't verify its authenticity or not. or something about the cadence or whatever. And I'm going to tell you why I believe people actually believe it is because Trump was hoarse yesterday. He actually talked about being hoarse yesterday. If you all remember in a video that I showed you, I think I showed you on video. I'm pretty sure I did, but he was talking about he was hoarse and he was yelling at someone. And so when they asked him, a reporter asked him, "Who are you yelling at?" He said, "I'm not going to tell you that." And so because he said he was yelling at someone and he was hoarse and he sounds hoarse in the phone call, that's why people are believing that it's true. But I don't believe it because, like I said, it would have been all over the media, pretty sure. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even share it. I thought I shared it on the screen. Hold on.
Marjorie Taylor not releasing the Epstein files. Fuck Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down with me.
So is that why you was really hoarse at the White House during the interview? You said you was yelling at somebody you was upset, very upset, and you wasn't gonna tell nobody who you was arguing with. So your plan all along with Venezuela, going to war with them. You're telling on yourself, bro. Everything is crumbling around you, and you're running crazy. You don't know what you're gonna do. You can't run from the truth. Well, you can, but sooner or later it's gonna come back around, bro. Just tell the truth now, man. We already know the truth. Sooner or later, the cat will catch the mouse, bro. Marjorie Taylor Greene is gonna be your Achilles heel, bro. That's what's gonna bring you down. You've been trying to spin this ever since the beginning of your presidency, bro. You ain't gonna go to heaven, man. You're not gonna go to heaven. Forget about it. Now I know everybody gonna be like, "Oh, that's AI, that's AI." But if you listen real good, real close, you can hear the music in the background, like he was in Air Force One or in his car. Like, you can't spin this one, bro. You cannot spin it. And your ignorant ass is really the one out there telling on yourself. Bubba can't help you now. I mean, it's wild, bro. Like, and the people that voted for him for not the first time, not the second time, but all 3 times, they know they just don't care. They're gonna be loyal to you until you not loyal back. Oh wait, you've already showed that you're not loyal to your followers, my nigga. Like, you might as well just give it up, bro. You ain't gonna be able to see that ballroom when it's completed. You're gonna be behind bars.
I wish he would be behind bars. That would be so lovely. Okay. I would be ecstatic. I would be literally ecstatic. Okay. But, like I said, people believe that phone call. Hold on. I'm going to play one more and then I'm going to play the video of him talking about his voice or about him yelling at someone or whatever.
Green, I don't care what you do. Start a fucking war. Just don't let them get out. If I go down, I will bring all of you down with me.
So normally I would err on the side of caution and I would say something like that is probably AI generated. With some factors at play, his voice was very, very hoarse yesterday. And if he spent the majority of the weekend on the phone yelling at people like that recording shows, and then he publicly pulled his support from Marjorie Taylor Greene this weekend, I'm gonna have to say that phone conversation is very real. If it barks like a dog, if it walks like a dog, it's a dog. And they did say Trump is the dog that didn't bark yet. But maybe he just didn't bark publicly, and maybe he was barking over the phone like this all along. And we're not just going to skim over the part where he said, start a war or something. If I go down, you're all going down with me. Get him the fuck out. Impeach him immediately. Immediately.
She said impeach him immediately. I wish they would. I actually wish they would. Now, here's the reason many people believe that it's not AI.
Mr. President, I have a question about Venezuela, but can I just first ask, the health of the president's always news. Your voice sounds a little rough. Are you feeling all right?
I feel great. I was shouting at people because they were stupid about something having to do with trade in a country, and I straightened it out. But I blew my stack at these people.
Well, it sounds like there's a follow-up there, but can I ask you about Venezuela? You suggested...
Is there what?
It sounds like there's a follow-up there, but can I ask you about Venezuela?
I thought you said there was a polyp. I said, I don't want to hear that.
Okay, so he was so hoarse yesterday that a reporter thought maybe he might have been under the weather and asked him about it. He said he was yelling, and so that's why they have drawn the conclusion that he was yelling at somebody on that phone, and that's likely true. Well, I don't believe it. Okay, it just is, like I said, strange that nobody else is talking about it. And then also, if it was leaked, where did the leak come from? Who leaked it? Okay, that's crazy. Yeah, when you don't have those details, I'm pretty sure it's AI. Now let's go to this last video, then we're out of here, where Trump just calls for ABC's license to be revoked after a reporter asked him about Epstein. Trump is something else.
Mr. President, why wait for Congress to release the Epstein files? Why not just do it now?
You know, it's not the question that I mind, it's your attitude. I think you are a terrible reporter. It's the way you ask these questions. You start off with a man who is highly respected, asking him a horrible, insubordinate, and just a terrible question. And you could even ask that same exact question nicely. You're a terrible person and a terrible reporter. As far as the Epstein files, I have nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. I threw him out of my club many years ago because I thought he was a sick pervert. But I guess I turned out to be right. But you know who does have? Bill Clinton, Larry Summers, who ran Harvard. You don't even talk about those people. You just keep going on the Epstein files. And what the Epstein is a Democrat hoax. And people are wise to your hoax. And ABC's your company, your crappy company, is one of the perpetrators. And I'll tell you something.
So why not just sign it now?
I think the license should be taken away from ABC because your news is so fake and it's so wrong. And we have a great commissioner, chairman, who should look at that, because I think when you come in and when you're 97% negative to Trump and then Trump wins the election in a landslide, that means obviously your news is not credible and you're not credible as a reporter. So I've answered your question. You should go and look at the Democrats who received money from Epstein, and you're not after the radical left because you're a radical left network. But I think the way you ask a question with the anger and the meanness is terrible. You got to go back and learn how to be a reporter. No more questions from you.
He said she's not a credible reporter for asking him a darn question. Said you need to go back and learn how to be a reporter. Why does this man attack anyone who asks him something that he simply doesn't want to answer, specifically questions about Jeffrey Epstein or those files? Because he's guilty. Point blank serious. I absolutely believe that he's guilty. Anyone who is innocent would not be concerned about questions about Epstein nor the files. We would not have had to wait until they go through a vote to have the files released. They would have already been released. Trump could have done it himself at any given time. And then for them to sit there, specifically MAGA Mike, and lie yesterday to the American public and say that, oh, we can't release it because, this is the victims' names and there's images of kitty corn and these things can't be released, when he knows that there are provisions for all of that, okay, within HR 4405, the Epstein Transparency Act. What a liar. They're just liars who lie. You can't believe anything they say at the end of the day. And so, I really hope that the files come out and that they all go to prison as they should, but I don't think it's ever going to happen. And even if it does, the files will have been scrubbed. There's not going to be the information that we need or know that probably exist. Okay, because, like Mark Epstein said, they're scrubbing them. And I believe it. Okay, I believe it. Even though I would love to know who the Democrats are that were involved as well. But I want everybody that was involved to be exposed. Don't you? Okay, don't you? So with that all being said, I love you all to life. Each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. And until next time, I will talk to you all again soon. Okay? And don't forget to tune in at about 6:30. Okay? I will be back. Peace.
Hit 'em with that gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunta. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got